10 things I wish someone had told me when I was starting out on my violin journey. If we haven't met, hi, I'm Megan. I'm a violinist and teacher. I've been playing the violin for over 20 years. I have my bachelor's and master's degrees in violin performance, and I'm Suzuki trained. If you're enjoying my videos, please just take a quick second to make sure you're subscribed to my channel. It's super easy and it really helps me out. And if you're interested in working with me, you can check the description for a private lesson application, as well as my comprehensive self-paced online affordable learning program, Learn Violin Online. Learning any instrument, but especially the violin, is tough. And we're all on our own journeys and are all going to make our own mistakes and learn our own lessons along the way. But here are 10 things I wish someone had told me along mine. Number 1 is to learn things properly from the very beginning. Bad habits are so hard to undo, speaking from personal experience. And this is a tough one, because obviously when you're a kid, and if you come from a family that doesn't have other violinists in it, you kind of just have to really rely on your teacher to guide you and correct you in the right way, which is a huge reason on why it's so important to get a great teacher. You spend so much time and so much effort practicing and learning things a certain way. It can be really discouraging to have to try to undo that. I started taking violin lessons at my school, and when I was in about 7th grade, I think, I switched teachers and I started taking with someone in the Houston Symphony. I remember one of the things that she told me was, we're gonna have to totally redo your technique. We're gonna have to work on scales, we're gonna have to work on exercises, we're gonna have to go back to easy pieces, and I can't tell you how discouraging that was. Now, don't get me wrong, I was up for the challenge. I wanted to be the best violinist I could be, but I can't help but think, what if I had just learned this properly from the beginning? Where would I be at now? Number 2 is how to practice. Practicing and playing the violin are two totally different skills. And if you don't know how to practice, you're going to spend a lot of time spinning your wheels. I have probably wasted so many hours of practice, and I say that lightly, right? Because anytime you're playing the instrument isn't necessarily wasted. But if I had been more efficient and more effective in my practice, I would have improved at a much faster rate. This is why I'm so passionate about sharing here online and with my private students exactly how to practice. And actually, I spend a lot of time practicing with them in the lesson, because when you think about it, lesson time is very limited. You spend most of your time practicing, and you want to make sure that you're doing that correctly. Number 3 is consistency is better than length when it comes to practice sessions. I remember being in high school, and I went to a performing arts high school, right, where a lot of my friends played instruments as well, and we would kind of brag to each other about how long we practiced over the weekend. Oh, I practiced 6 hours. Oh, I practiced 8 hours. And yes, I really did spend one full day, 8 hours practicing, because I thought it was cool. It's not cool. Nobody needs to practice for that long. But when you're practicing, what you're doing is building up your muscle memory. And the unfortunate thing with muscle memory is that if you don't use it, you lose it, right? So if you're practicing for 2, 3, 8 hours in one day and then neglecting your instrument for the rest of the week, you are not going to be making progress. It's ideal to practice every day. You can take your lesson day off practicing. However, I know that obviously not everybody has the bandwidth for that in their schedules. I would say 5 days a week is a good goal to shoot for. Number 4 is you are improving. When we practice, we take so many little baby steps forward, and honestly steps backward as well. So it can be easy to feel like you're not making any progress. In fact, those little steps forward do add up, and I can guarantee you, if you're practicing every day and putting your best effort in, when you go to your lesson that week, your teacher will be able to tell you improved. This is another great reason why recording yourself is so important, because you can actually hear that progress manifest. Number 5 is violin hickeys are not cool. I remember being in high school, and all of my friends had, the violin hickeys here, and I didn't, even though I was practicing and playing like crazy. And honestly, I felt like I wasn't doing enough. I felt like because I didn't have this silly little, whatever you want to call it, silly little mark on my neck, that I was not as good of a violinist. I wasn't a real violinist. When, come on, doesn't that sound a little crazy? Also, what I wish I could have told myself then is once you get it, it will never go away. Which is fine. Mine isn't too noticeable right now. But you definitely do not need to have a violin hickey to be a real violinist. This isn't a symbol of, you're practicing enough. It's really just a skin irritation. Number 6 is you do not need all of the latest gear. Again, I remember when I was in high school, BAM cases were all the rage. All my friends had a BAM case and I didn't. I remember asking for a BAM case, for Christmas, and I got one. And yeah, BAM cases are awesome, but it doesn't make me a better violinist just by having a BAM case. I'll also say, I'll put instruments in this category as well. You don't need a Strat. You don't need a $10,000 instrument to sound good. You should be able to make any instrument sound good. Now, of course, the better the instrument, the easier and better it is to play, and maybe the more likely you are to practice, so that's never a bad thing. But you do not need the latest instrument, the latest shoulder rest, the best case, the best rosin, any of that to improve. Getting into number 7, this is more geared towards those who want to become professional violinists. It's more geared toward me, again, in high school. Number 7, your school and teacher do not matter that much. Of course, you want to go to the best school that you can, and the most important thing when finding a teacher is that they help you and you mesh with them. But nobody is out here in the real world asking you where you went to school, especially, the more advanced in your career that you get. It doesn't matter where you go to school. It doesn't matter who your teacher is. What matters is that you can play, and you can learn to do that under basically any circumstances if you want it badly enough. Number 8 is people skills are just as important as playing skills. So networking, being a nice person, showing up on time, being communicative, these all go very long ways into making sure that your career flourishes. Number 9 on my list is it's going to take longer than you think. And this applies to just about everything. Learning that skill, it's going to take longer than you think. Learning that piece is going to take longer than you think. Developing that beautiful sound, it's going to take longer than you think. And I don't say this to discourage you. Actually, on the contrary, I say this to encourage you. I can't tell you how many times I see a student playing for, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, and they're wondering why they're not a prodigy yet. And it's like, well, yeah, you still got a long ways to go there, babe. When you're learning an instrument, especially the violin, you are in it for the long haul. This is not a short side quest. This is a for life kind of thing. Even now, I've been playing for over 25 years. I am still learning and improving. Isn't that beautiful? And number 10, and this is a big one for me personally, your worth is not tied to how you play. Missing a practice session or not getting to practice as much as you want does not mean you have poor time management skills. Maybe you were just really busy that day or week. Playing terribly in a performance or even just for a lesson that you practiced so hard for does not mean all that progress or all that practice was for naught. Having a terrible performance does not say anything about you as a person. The violin is its totally own separate thing. Of course, we practice and we want to be the best that we can be. That is by no means reflective on you and your character and your worth. So those are my top 10 things I wish someone had told me before I started along this journey. They're yours. Thank you so much for watching, and please subscribe before you go.